Alright, hi everybody, this is part 11 in the character modeling tutorial video series. We're going to talk about how to block out more of the nose, add some more loops there, extrude the nostrils and the tip of the nose out in this video. Last video we talked about how to block out the mouth with some more edge loops. Now we're going to move to the nose. So we're going to do two things. We're going to extrude out the tip of the nose, and then we're going to extrude out the nostrils. And then we're going to extrude inside the hole for the nostrils. Then we'll add some more loops as we go along as well. Alright, so with the two faces on the tip of the nose, we're going to extrude those out. I'm going to get the move tool after I've extruded and move them forward. Okay. So we don't want it to be that crazy, so we're just going to scale it in some. But this will give us a pretty good nose shape. We'll come in here and move some of the edges around. Get that more rounded nose form that we're looking for. Move that out some. Pull this one down. Add a little more. There you go. So that creates kind of that curved bulbous part of the nose. It's a pretty good start there. We can extrude that again if we wanted to, but we're not going to go too crazy there. Alright, so for the nostrils, we can take just the lower face right there and extrude that out on both sides. So we don't really need to go too much higher than that. But when I extrude, I'm going to get the move tool again and just move it away. And we're going to move some of the edges in some so it's not so pointed. But we can also pull this back a little bit there, something like that. And then we'll get the vertices and kind of taper them down so they're not so high of a form. This one's not so low. Okay, everyone has a different shaped nose. We're just going to try to create a more generic nose right now. So we extruded the tip out. We've extruded the nostril area out. Now we really need to get the cavity of the nostril. So we're going to take these two faces and extrude them up. So if we do extrude here and we do offset, and we'll do a 0.2 offset, we're going to have a little bit of an issue because what we want is two nose cavities, not just one. So if we do keep faces together off, that will still not really create what we want here. So what we're going to do is actually undo that extrusion, and I'm going to delete half of the head model. And then we'll come back. Let's see, let's turn off symmetry. So delete half of the head. I'm going to make sure it was exactly half all the way through. Yep, looks pretty good. So then now when I come in here and extrude those two faces, I can get my scale tool or use the inset. So now that I have like a full cavity of where that nostril is going to come in. So we're going to move it out. We're going to move some of the vertices in so it is more rounded. Good. We'll move this one so that's our center line. That one there. We're just manipulating the form a little more so it's not as oblong of a shape. There you go. All right, so now that we have the nostril started with the extrusion, we can mirror this over. Now sometimes the mirror tool may not work as you expected, so here's just another way that we can mirror it over. I think I'm having an issue with my mirror not working on this model. So if I do mirror, the proper axis is object X, but it's not doing anything, even if I change it to Y or Z, or if I change this to axis to object and then do positive or negative. So my mirror tool sometimes doesn't work depending on kind of some of the things you've done with the model. So instead, got my nostril there, what we can do is duplicate. So we're going to hit Control D to duplicate and type in a -1 for the scale, and that will mirror it over to the other side. And then if I select both halves, go to the modeling toolkit and choose combine. That will make one new object again. I need to merge the center vertices, so let's do edit mesh merge. And then I have my extra groups from combining. So let's do edit, delete by type, history. There we go. And then check my symmetry again. So let's go back to symmetry, object X. Check that. It all still works as I want it to. So now with my individual nostril, what will be the holes, I can select both of those and extrude. Get the move tool. Make sure we have just those faces selected. Extrude that up and start to scale it in. Gonna roll it back into the head as well. And let's extrude, scale it in, move it closer to the center of the body there, something like that. We don't have to do, you know, huge extrusions, but enough that from most angles, maybe we'll do one more extrude, scale it in, move it in there as well. So that way that we still see we have some kind of cavity in there. All right, so that'll give us some pretty good forms for the nose. We can then come in here and go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. Perhaps add another edge loop around that nostril area. So that'll give us some more spaces that come in here and round off some of these a little more. So we can round that area off a little bit. We can come up to the top and say, well, let's move some of these in a little more. A little bit smoother of a form here. So another edge loop gives us some more opportunity to round off some forms. Maybe roll that out a little bit for the bottom of the nose. There we go. So that's a good way to kind of block out the nose for the character. All right, next video we'll talk about how to model the eyes and then add some more edge loops before we get to other things like the ears.